Good afternoon. This is attorney Katherine Henry, and we are going over Friday's freedom fighting tools. These are the freedom fighting tools of the week that went along with this week's full episode of Restore Freedom Weekly that went live at noon on Tuesday this week on our Rumble channel. And this is the follow-up to give you a reminder of the freedom fighting tools that we featured this week. The links to the tools this week are in the description of this video. And I'm just going to do a brief screen share to walk you through these freedom fighting tools. As you hopefully know by now, our topic of the week was talking about the truth about the allegiance of U.S. licensed bar attorneys, specifically talking about the theory of whether U.S. bar attorneys swear an allegiance or an oath to the Crown of England, and whether bar attorneys in the U.S. are part of the British Accredited Registry. Well, we saw that neither one of those things are true in full detail in our full episode, but because I agree with the notion that's behind it all and wanting to find that reason for why our judicial system is so messed up, or some sort of understanding about some common understanding across people in general that attorneys aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing, and they're failing us and they're letting us down in some way, and looking for reasons why. I agree with that. Attorneys are required to do better. They should be doing better. They should be representing people, advising people, educating them, protecting them much better than by and large what they do as a whole, especially with what we've seen since the beginning of 2020. So with that being said, this week's freedom fighting tools are meant to give you that direct knowledge and insight on what is actually required of attorneys. Of course, this focuses on specifics of Michigan and Florida. And please note that in the full episode, we discussed in detail how these requirements are very similar in every other state. And we talked about several examples of other states. And because there is no nationwide required bar association, there is nothing analogous to point you to in terms of rules that are binding on attorneys that are nationwide in scope. So the first of these freedom fighting tools are the rules concerning the State Bar of Michigan. You can see the rules for membership. You can see, especially Rule 15 and Rule 16, the admission to the bar, what's required and what's not. So there's no oath to the crown or allegiance to the crown. And what they say about the unauthorized practice of law. In the second freedom fighting tool, you'll see the Michigan Rules of Professional Conduct for Attorneys. And these are something that you should definitely read through. There are quite a few different rules here, but start with the ones that jump out at you and utilize the PDF function right here where you can scroll through and click on something and it'll bring you right to that section. Next, the rules regulating the Florida Bar, where it starts off by saying the Supreme Court of Florida, by these rules, establishes the authority and responsibilities of the Florida Bar, an official arm of the court. So, in other words, placing it directly into the judicial branch. And it's actually chapter 4 of the same set of rules, but it's a different link or different PDF. The rules of professional conduct for Florida attorneys, very similar to what we saw in the Michigan link. And finally, the Florida Bar frequently asked questions. I ask you to take a look at these. You can actually, in this link, see the actual oath of admission to the Florida bar right there. Read it for yourself. But I ask you to take a look at these to, first of all, dispel any possible rumor about the British Accreditation Registry and how that is linked to some supposed oath that United States attorneys, bar attorneys, take. But even if you're past that, you understand that's not a thing. This will still give you tools, important tools, to understanding that important piece of the judicial system. Those attorneys licensed to practice in the states all across the United States, what is required of them? What is their first and foremost oath? Well, it's to support the Constitution of the United States. So how are attorneys letting us down? How are my peers not following through on their oath of office? This tells you exactly what's required, and you can probably find links to different attorney grievance commission types of bodies and figure out ways to contact governing bodies regarding attorneys who are not following through on their oath, or perhaps even contact attorneys that you feel are abiding by their oath and giving them that word of encouragement. So that is the freedom fighting tools for the week. And I thank you for joining us today for this recap. And again, we thank you for being with us on this entire journey to restore freedom. And we hope you have a wonderful weekend. Again, this is Friday's Freedom Fighting Tools, a segment recap of the Restore Freedom Weekly episode. Please join us every Tuesday at noon on our Rumble channel. We'll see you next week.